Hi there, thanks for tuning in again. Since last month in my February video I forgot to film an intro, I thought maybe it's best to film the intro for my March video at the start of the month. Which also means that at this point in time I have no idea if this will be a successful month for me or just a mediocre one. So with that being said, I would say let's just get started, and if you like, follow me into the unknown. Okay, so the first week of March was quite challenging again for different reasons, and I hope you can still see me. It's already getting a little bit dark, so it's quite late in the day that I'm filming this. So the first week at work was quite heavy again. As you might remember, I have a big project with a colleague and we are working on that pretty much almost day and night. So this now is coming to a halt slowly. It's slowing down. So last week was still quite heavy, and the next week I still will have to do some stuff with it, but the bulk of the work is done, I guess. So that is good. But otherwise, the start into the month was quite heavy, as you might remember from last week's or from last month's video, because I started with the Oscars, with the Academy Awards night, where I had a lot of food, snacks and sweets and stuff like that. I overdid it, I guess, in regards of calories, but also I didn't feel that well afterwards. So that was a tough start into the week. The rest of the days then that followed were pretty normal until Thursday, because Thursday I was going into the office again. So as usual, every time I go into the office, once I arrive at Wannsee, the train station where I end up and need to change into the bus was already gone. So I was going and walking through the woods again. And by the way, as you might remember from last year's videos, this weird circle of wood that was here on that lawn is now gone. So maybe it just rotted away, or maybe it were wickers and they are not around anymore. I have no idea. Then when I came into the office, since on Thursdays we have free meals, I was treating myself, which was hitting my calorie intake that day quite heavily. But the main reason why I was in the office anyways was that we had a group of people from a team we are working a lot with coming from America to Dry Linden. So I wanted to meet with them, and especially one colleague that I really like. And at the end of the day, we were also invited to an in-person event where we also wanted to go to. So that was the reason why I was in the office. But so this breakfast was not the only thing I had as an intake that day, because we then went to a food court on the way to our venue where we want to have the event in the evening. And since at that event there were probably going to be a lot of alcohol in the mix, we stopped at a food court to have some more food. So this is where we are stopping here and where a lot of more calories came in. Then finally we arrived at the karaoke bar where we had our event. And here you have some images that I want to put in just to give you an idea of how the atmosphere was. I will not share music here because it might get issues with copyrights on my YouTube channel, so I don't want to have that. But yeah, also I was singing, I was getting up on stage for 3 songs overall. And from the feedback I received, apparently I wasn't that bad. But what I always find shocking is, since I don't see myself all that often full scale on a video, that when I look at it, I really need to lose a lot of more pounds than I have already. But yeah, that is the purpose of this video anyway, and this video series. So I'm on my way there. And yeah, so I had a lot of alcohol there, and then on yesterday, I also met with some friends, and we were going out for dinner. And it was a lot of calories this week, so I was afraid to even step on the scales, but I did. I almost considered not to do this week, but I did. And I was assuming I would gain a lot of weight, and I gained about 800 grams or something. But it was not as bad as I was worried about, but it's still not good that it again went up into the wrong direction. Hopefully until the end of a month I will have everything getting back to normal again. This week I will have a normal week. Hopefully at the end of this week, when I put in the next segment, you will hear me saying that I've lost weight again. But yeah, that's it for me for this week. It is already Monday again, and I have a very short update for you, because I mentioned a lot that I have a big project that really keeps me awake at night and keeps me working into the evenings. So this finally seems to be coming to an end. Last week was again quite heavy on work, not as slight as I was hoping. I was hoping that the work would already settle down a little bit over the last week. It didn't happen, but today on Monday it's the first day that I can have a little bit of a breather. I think things are getting back to normal now, and hopefully this week will be a little bit quieter, so getting back to normal. And with that, of course, as I might have mentioned in my previous entry, my intermittent fasting was affected by the fact that I sometimes worked into the evenings. I think I worked a lot of times until 10 or 11 p.m. One day in between, I think, was again around 2 a.m. when I was done. So that also affected the fact that usually in the evenings I was working privately on my videos for my review channel, where I do movie reviews. And that had to happen for that reason on the weekends. So Saturdays in the last few weeks I usually worked on those, and I worked into the early morning around 5 or 6, and last week or so, two days ago, on Saturday to Sunday, I actually worked until 8 in the morning. So that hopefully will change again now that I have a little bit more normality on my schedule, hopefully. And with that, hopefully my daily day and night rhythm is coming back to something more normal again. And with it, I will also bring back my intermittent fasting on a more regular schedule. That's that. I hope, like I said, everything is going back to normal now. And that's it for this week. I hope. Well, this week I'm filming a little bit later than usual. Today it's already Tuesday, and I will keep it short as well this week, because as you can see, it is already getting a little bit dusky. So is it dusk or dawn? It's dusky. So the weather also is not that sunny, as you can see, and it wasn't that sunny in general the last few days. But yeah, so that's that. My work week last week was a little bit lighter than the weeks before, because the big project I had, I could finally, at least my parts, wind down to the most parts. And I guess I will need to revisit it for the next phase in the future, but for now I'm done with it. And for that reason, I could actually take a few days off, which is great, because I have remaining holidays from my last year that I need to use up until the end of April. So that is the first portion I'm taking in this week, which means I could wind down a little bit. But of course, it also meant that my last few days, making sure that nothing is missing and everything is in place and nothing is going wrong while I am on PTO. For that reason, of course, the last few days were also a little bit stressy. And for that reason, I guess, my weight just went down very slightly, like 200 grams, which is like slightly under half a pound. But it's still going down, which is good. So I hope this week will be more successful in that matter. And also enjoying the free time. I guess I might go into the south of Germany and visit my niece, because her son Louis has his birthday, his 15th. And I will try to make it down there to visit them and spend a few days over the weekend likely. And I missed her other son's birthday, Matteo, a few days ago, but that was just not possible. I was still deep in work at that time. So that is my update for this week, and let's stop it here. It is April, as I said, and it is Sunday, and you can see it's really quite sunny. It's even getting into my eyes a little bit, so I'm squinting a little bit, so sorry about that. So yeah, what happened the last 2 weeks? Because last week I didn't really come around to film at the weekend what was going on, so I cover the last 2 weeks now in this update, and I tried to keep it short because nothing much happened. So as I told you last time, I was having a week of PTO, and my original plan was to go down to into the south of Germany, to visit my niece and my grandnephew who had a birthday last weekend. I didn't make it for different reasons. One of them is that I had a plumbing emergency, so the water in my sink wasn't going down anymore, so I had to get the plumber to look into it, and that was something I had to take care of. And the other thing was that I was a little bit stingy, because usually when you plan a trip down to the south of Germany, you go by train and you can book it quite in advance. If I do it in advance, then usually it costs me something between 50 and 100 euros to go back and forth. And the closer you get to the date you are going down there, the more expensive it will be. And the day I was checking it out, the prices would have been somewhere between 350 and 400 euros. So I was thinking that just for a longer weekend to go there, it's a little bit much. So my stinginess was winning. But in the end, it was a good decision, because my grandnephew wasn't even celebrating his birthday because he got sick. He had a cold, a big one, and that was going around. Everyone had it at a certain time, so I would have just gotten it too if I would have been down there. And like I said, there was no celebration at all. My sister was down there. She got the cold as well. She brought it back home, I think. I was picking her up from the train station. She still sounded a little bit sick, but she told me, no, she's not sick anymore, so it's not contagious anymore. I am not 100% sure, because now I picked her up on Thursday. Now it's Sunday, and I feel my nose is a little bit itchy, but maybe that is a coincidence. Let's see. So far I'm not sick. I hope I will not get sick, but we will see. That is basically it regarding that. I mean, I spent the time instead doing some stuff in my apartment, which is good. I also was watching a lot of Netflix shows, but the Netflix shows I watched were actually on Disney Plus, because it was the Marvel stuff, Daredevil and the kind. Because I was catching up to be ready to watch the new season of Daredevil Born Again, which is just streaming on Disney Plus. And for that I was preparing. I was watching a few seasons of the original stuff. I'm still not through, because it's 13 seasons with 13 episodes each, and those are mostly almost 1 hour long and not just 45 minutes. So that is a thing that I did, and that kept me busy. But the main thing I wanted to do is just forget about work, because the project I was working on was really getting on my nerves and really taking a toll on me. So I was able to switch off completely, which is good, and that was the main focus. And with that being said, I also was not really posting my community posts as I was supposed to do over the last few weeks. So that is something I will just put in a post when I post this video to accompany that, and I will give you an update on my weight in between, and that went up and down a little bit. So let's go to the weight results. My weight results over the month was a little bit wild. Especially last week I gained quite a lot, like a kilo. It's more than 2 pounds. So and that is mainly because I thought I was just listening to my body and try to estimate things without measuring it strictly. And the result is that is not working apparently. So I need to get back to strictly do intermittent fasting and also concentrating on counting the calories. Intermittent fasting I mainly think I was sticking to, but I am also not 100% sure over the last 2 weeks. So I will restart into April with being completely strict in both regards and see what happens then. So a little bit disappointing this month for me, but here are the values. So from last month, not last week, last month to now, I went from 113.6 kilo, which is 250.4 pounds, to 114.9 kilo, which is 253.3 pounds. So an uptick, which is basically the same uptick, by the way, from last week to now. My body mass index went just slightly up from 32.8 to 33.2. Body fat very slightly up, which surprised me, from 35.9 to 36.0. Muscle mass stayed the same at 28.4. I need to walk more. And visceral fat, internal fat stayed at 17% as well. So not a big change, only the weight went up a little bit. But like I said, hopefully next month will be more successful in that regards. That's basically it. That is all I wanted to share. I hope you had a successful month and everything you were trying to achieve you were successful with. Like I said, I was not that successful, but that is how life sometimes works. And next month hopefully is better. And in that spirit I say, I hope everything you have planned for next month will come to fruition. I hope everything you plan will go through. Same is hopefully true for myself. I will be tough, even though I say that a lot, but this time I mean it again. And I meant it before as well, but I just didn't stick to it. So this time I will stick to it. And with these words, I just say, as usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching.